fucking planes, man. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. No, you're not watching Country File, and no, we're not going bird watching. We are going to be doing the podcast today, this time outside. If you're in England and you live in England, you'll probably know, just like me, if it's above 15 degrees, it's any excuse to get outside. So we are outside. If we hear any planes, just ignore that. And if there's any awkward dog walker moments as well, they probably won't make it into the podcast episode, but I'm sure we will have a few. I'm not going to drag it out for much longer than hopefully under half an hour. So much to get through today. Like I said, we're going to be looking at every single club, well, most clubs, looking at some underachievers, overachievers, looking across the whole season and what a campaign it has been. Today it is League One playoff final day as Blackpool plays against Lincoln at Wembley in the playoff final. Which team will be getting promoted into the Championship? That will be decided today. I'm sure for those two fans, it's a very, very nervous day. I was there last season facing Wycombe, of course, Oxford United, as an Oxford United fan. I know what it's like. It's a very, very nervous day, but at least you've got a nice day to celebrate it. Other than last season, I don't think it was too much of a nice day. And of course, we had the C word as well, of course, COVID. So we weren't as lucky to be able to go outside and celebrate it, but we didn't need to celebrate because we lost. Let's go through then the teams that joined us in League One this season. 7 new sides in the league, 3 relegated from the Championship, 4 promoted from League 2. Charlton, Crewe, Hull City, Northampton, Plymouth, Swindon and Wigan were all the teams that came up. They were the 7 teams that came up or down into this league. And well, first of all, we'll look at the bookies' favourite from the start of the season. Sunderland were actually favourites for the title. They were 6-1 to claim the title. This was mainly down to the impressive signings that Phil Parkinson made at the start of the season, and with big expectations at Sunderland, because you know how big they are. They want to be promoted back into the Championship, potentially even getting back into the Premier League one day. When you look at the size of the football club, they made some really, really good signings. In the end, it didn't work. They got, of course, to the playoff semi-final. They got beaten by Lincoln, and in all of that, we talk about Phil Parkinson. He actually was sacked in the middle of the season. He was sacked mid-season when it looked pretty likely that the Black Cats weren't going to be having a successful year. It did sort of feel as a bit of a successful season, but in the end, it wasn't really, when you think about it, not even getting to the final. That's where they want to be. They want to be getting back in the Championship. They were unable to do that this season, but they were the bookies' favourites. So that is interesting to see. That some really, really, and I've got to be honest as well, I thought they would get into the Championship next season through automatic promotion or even the title. It wasn't to be, but I'm sure they'll be back next season. They will be, but will they be back fighting for promotion next season? We'll have to see. They'll be hoping they certainly can. They lost the playoff semi-final, of course, this season. Can they do it? They didn't even get into the playoffs last season, I don't believe, did they? And then the season before that as well, of course, they lost lost in the final. So they are going to be desperate to get back. For Peterborough, they were favourites to gain automatic promotion, and they did just that as well. So a successful season for Darren Ferguson's Plymouth side. They're going to be very, very happy with their campaign. Portsmouth and Oxford, the other teams tipped promotion down to the bookies. Portsmouth missed out, of course, of the playoffs. Oxford did do it in the end. They did finish in the top 6. It was a struggle. It was a bit of a battle, but we got there in the end. We'll talk about Oxford in a little bit more detail in today, but not as much detail as my previous episode of the podcast, looking back on Oxford specifically and their campaign. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in more detail around Oxford. We will touch on them briefly though today. What a season it's been. Only one of them have secured promotion this season. And I guess that shows as well that how predictable it is, how unpredictable, should I say, it is, in League One. So many sides. We've got Portsmouth, Portsmouth not missing out, but then teams like Blackpool and Lincoln, not even, in the bookies' favourites to get promoted. Lincoln last season appointed Michael Appleton to save them from relegation. He did just that, a fantastic summer. And then in the end, they go on, and, they're going on into the playoff final today. Same with Blackpool as well. They had a really, really good season. They didn't expect them to be fighting where they are, finishing third in the playoff final. Both of those teams in the playoffs have had a fantastic season. So unpredictable, and that is why we love League One. Some of us love League One. If you're a Portsmouth, Sunderland, or Oxford United fan, or some of the teams as well, Charlton and Ipswich, you probably don't love it as much anymore due to how difficult it is, this league. It's not easy to get out. It's a very, very tough division to get out of, and it's proven that way again this year, and it has done through this season. No sign of Hull City, Blackpool and Lincoln City. Hull were actually tipped to finish in the playoffs. They weren't predicted to finish as title winners. They did just that under Grant McCann. A fantastic year for Hull City, getting relegated straight back into the Championship. A fantastic, fantastic year for them. And that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted to get back as quickly as possible, and they did just that. The bottom of the league table then, we've got to touch on relegation. Rochdale were favourites to go down, and they did. Wimbledon and Northampton were the other favourites to be playing League 2 football next season. The final relegation spot was close to call. 2 of them did go down, and the other 2, of course, were Swindon Town and Bristol Rovers. A bit of a surprise with Bristol Rovers fans. Mid-table last season, they had a manager, of course. They sacked their manager in the middle of the season, brought in Joey Barton, who had a good campaign, but Swindon had got promoted last year. They're going straight back down. Such a shame for an Oxford United fan, of course, that Swindon weren't successful. I didn't sleep. I haven't slept since they've been relegated. Trust me of that. Anyway, in terms of managers, there was a massive turnover this year in terms of managers. So many managers coming in, coming out of these League One sides. Overall, 15 managers lost their job during the campaign. Sunderland, Ipswich, Portsmouth and Charlton all had their managers sacked or left at some point during this campaign. So some big clubs, your so-called big historical clubs of this league, and from the times, across all leagues in England, Ipswich, Sunderland, the size of those football clubs, they all had managers left or sacked this during the campaign. So again, not when we look back on this season, we round up and review this campaign, some massive clubs seeing their managers leave or be sacked. Only one of them left, and that was, of course, Bauer of Charlton. He went off to manage Birmingham. Other than that, they all sacked their manager. None of which were promoted this year as well, which is very, very interesting. Should they have stuck with their manager? Should they have left, and moved away from the manager? Or should they have gone and done what they did? Or kept with their manager? That could have been an interesting point. Where would have Portsmouth, Sunderland, all these managers been if they just stuck with their manager? I don't know. No one can see and no one can predict what would have happened in the end. They all did decide to move on, other than Bauer, of course, who went to Birmingham out of his free will. Other than that, though, fans of the clubs, certainly let me know of that, because I guess I don't really know what the situation was in full detail. But please make sure you let me know in the comments down below and talk about your season, talk about what you think of League One as well, because of course there's some fantastic moments there. That does show, though, how impressive teams like Lincoln, Blackpool and Oxford were to make the top 6. Some massive clubs missing out on top 6, sacking their managers. In the end, Oxford, some huge teams in that league, Oxford, Blackpool, Lincoln, all of them. I know Blackpool have got a fantastic history in the Football League, but in terms of this campaign, it's so impressive to see how well those teams have done this year, and that should definitely be applauded. Some fantastic performers from those teams, and again, when we look at those big clubs, they did a really good account. They made a really good account of themselves this season in League One. If we look at some individual teams, then we'll talk about Lincoln in particular first. They started the season strong and looked like real title contenders under Appleton. They still did manage to finish the top 6. Of course, they are playing in the final tonight, or should I say this afternoon at 3 o'clock. But other than that, they did start very well. They did have a bit of a shaky patch in the middle, but generally they steadied the ship. They had a fantastic campaign, and again, Lincoln, a really good season for them. When we look at Blackburn and Oxford, notably, they started slow, but in the end finished on the high and played each other, of course, in the semi-final. Oxford were in the relegation zone for the first 3 months of this campaign. Really impressive to see Oxford United claw out of the depths, get a fantastic run. Of course, that record win of, I think it was 9 or 10 wins in a row. A fantastic achievement for them. A great campaign for Oxford United and Blackpool as well. They started slow, they're sort of mid-table. Were they going to do it? They brought in some fantastic players, as did Lincoln and Oxford United as well. They strengthened in the summer, they went again, and they had a fantastic campaign. And you have to say congratulations to them for getting in the top 6. We talk about those clubs that missed out: Sunderland, Charlton, Ipswich. All of them didn't even get into the top 6, but teams like Lincoln, Blackpool and Oxford as well, who started slow, went on an incredible run and got themselves in for a shout. Sunderland and Portsmouth looked pretty decent for the majority of the campaign, but Jackett, of course, when he started to struggle, he got out of the door. I know it wasn't too popular, I think it was with Portsmouth fans, but at the end of the day, they've got their manager gone now, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes and and what the situation is there. There is a plane. That is the first plane we've had of the podcast episode. I do apologise, but this is what you get when we go outside. I couldn't sit inside though, because it was absolutely boiling. Like I said, it's practically illegal if you're in England to go outside, if it's anything more than 15 degrees. To stay inside is any more than 15 degrees. We had to get out, and we have done. I have no idea what the lighting's like. I have no idea if you can even see me right now with the shade, but hopefully it's okay, because I'm not going to try and do this again. If not, it will be an inside job, because outside, so many different obstacles I think you'll find. Anyway, let's move on. When we look at Portsmouth then, we look at the Cowley brothers. They came in mid-season. They replaced Jackett. Of course, they were very famous what they did again with Lincoln. They also went to Huddersfield as well. Not so successful at Huddersfield, but generally for Lincoln, they did fantastically well. And of course, for Portsmouth now, they started the season. Sorry, they came in mid-season, like Jackie, who did start the campaign. He's been there a few years. They came in mid-season, and of course, they weren't actually able to finish in the top 6. The final day, they lost to Accrington Stanley, meaning that Oxford United took that final spot. Very, very disappointing for them, but they have signed a contract extension. They will be playing, they will be managing League One side Portsmouth next season. But this year, the Cowley brothers back in football in League One. When we talk about this roundup, fantastic stuff to see them back in League One, even though it is at Fratton Park with Portsmouth. Let's talk about some surprises this campaign then. Doncaster surprised many this year, of course. They were fantastic. They had a fiery start. They were absolutely incredible. So impressed with Doncaster under Darren Moore. A really standout player was, of course, Whiteman. He left in January to Preston, but probably that was quite a difficult situation for them, seeing their man leave and then go to Preston. And that would have made things more difficult. But in terms of Darren Moore and what he did for Doncaster, he did extremely, extremely well. They later lost their manager, Darren Moore, to Sheffield Wednesday, who did subsequently get relegated into League One next season. Of course, he will be still in charge, I believe, there. But other than that, a really good campaign for Doncaster. It looked like they were looking like they could be real top 6 contenders. It wasn't to be when they lost their manager. Things fell apart. They ultimately did almost fall off a cliff, really, when you think about it. But ultimately, that was the end of that. They did have a good campaign, though, and I'm excited to see them next season. I think they will be appointing an actual manager, though, because I'm pretty sure they appointed their captain or a member of, or actual playing member of staff at the end of during the season as well. So if they do get a proper manager in next season, I think Doncaster are a real team to watch out for. But a really, really good campaign for them. When we look at other surprises, then Accrington were another team to watch out for. They really were a banana skin for teams, certainly in the top end of the campaign, and teams that are really looking to finish in the top 6. We talk about Accrington beating Portsmouth on the final day at Fratton Park, giving Oxford United that chance to be playing playoff football this season. They took it, they beat Burton, and Accrington again proved that they're really difficult to beat. And I think when they were on it, defensively, they were absolutely outstanding, which was very, very impressive for them. Very, very happy for Accrington and Coleman. He did a very, very good job this season. In the end, they finished mid-table, which is a good campaign for them. And at the start of the season, when we beat them 4-1 as an Oxford United fan, I really, really did fear the worst for them. But in the end of the day, they got things sorted out. They were fantastic through the campaign. So impressive, Accrington Stanley. And in the end, I'm a secret Acton fan for getting us into the playoffs, of course. A good season for them. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we've covered everything Accrington there. We've got to talk about one team then, the recovery team of the season, and that's got to be Burton Albion's Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's Burton. Wrong way round, but anyway, you know what I mean. Burton, what a recovery it was for him. From Sky Sports pundit to the ultimate hero of Burton. They look like a certain League Two side next season. But in the end, some great January transfer window business, bringing those players in, doing a great job, and he looked like he was probably going to get Burton relegated. Not really under him, even though, it would have been under his name. He came in at such a difficult time. He took the job. He got everyone on side. He steadied the ship, and he recovered Burton in such a style. So impressed with what Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank did at Burton. So impressed with what Burton did. Congratulations to them. They'll be playing League One football next season, but they have to go down as the recovery of the season. Great work from them. Let's move on then to another sort of recovery scheme, if you like. A little bit different though to Burton, because this was sort of based off the pitch. Wigan had some real issues off the pitch towards the back end of last season and during this campaign as well, but still managed to stay in the league. And for Wigan this season, it was a very, very good one. And you think about it, look at the stuff off the pitch, the financial difficulties, the stuff that can't really be controlled on the pitch. They did a fantastic, fantastic job. Fan favourite Paul Cook left them before the start of the season, which made matters even worse as well. He's a very, very good manager. He's now managing Ipswich Town. Of course, he joined mid-season when Ipswich sacked their manager. At the end, a real battle, but the future does look really, really bright for Wigan. It really does. I think, think about it, a good summer transfer window, steady the ship. I don't really know what the situation is financially off the pitch with the takeover, the board. I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to pretend like an expert in that sense of things with Wigan, but generally, to stay up financially for that football club, for the actual development of that football club, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And what they've done this season for Wigan, it was a battle, it was tough, but ultimately, Wigan did a fantastic, fantastic job. Congratulations to them. Wigan will be playing, with the plane above me, will be playing League One football next season. Congratulations to them. It's exciting stuff for them next year. Let's move on then to my awards. We're going to be doing top goal scorer. They're not really my awards though, because top goal scorer, anyone's going to be getting that. And that, of course, is the Peterborough man, Jonson Clarke-Harris. 31 goals this season. He is top goal scorer. A fantastic goal scoring campaign for Peterborough. And what is it with Peterborough bringing in goal scorers? You look at Ivan Toney. He went to Brentford this season. He's now top goal scorer. Brentford are playing in the Premier League next year. Peterborough can produce and score lots and lots of goals with their centre forwards. And Jonson Clarke-Harris did just that. He filled the big shoes of Ivan Toney, who left in the summer. 31 goals for him. Congratulations to Peterborough. A real goal scorer there. Most assists then, Aidan McGeady. 16 assists for Aidan McGeady. He's staying at the club, it looks like, as well at Sunderland. They've released a lot of players at the end of this year after a pretty unsuccessful season when you think about it, not getting promoted. But Aidan McGeady was a shining light. 16 assists this season. Fantastic stuff for him. Most big chances created down to XG was George Honeyman of Hull City. 21 big chances created. Fantastic stuff for that Hull City man. Great work for him. A little bit of a flop one, a little bit of a negative one, but we'll say it anyway. Most big chances missed was actually the top goal scorer, Jonson Clarke-Harris. 24 big chances missed this season. He could have had over 50 goals this year if he tucked those chances away. They create a lot of chances for him. Joel Ward was actually second for big chances created, also at Peterborough. But Jonson Clarke-Harris, 24 big chances missed. Not great, but is he going to care? He's getting promoted with Peterborough and he scored 31 goals. He's not going to care. I wouldn't really. Most amount of average saves per game as well, and that was actually Plymouth goalkeeper, 3.3 average saves per game. That was Michael Cooper. Plymouth got promoted last season, along with Crewe as well. We've got to mention those two. They didn't go straight back down. They stayed up as well, which is fantastic for them. And they've had a very, very good campaign. Least conceded per game was actually Chris Maxwell of Blackpool. He conceded an average of 0.8 per goals per game, which is very, very interesting, but a very, very good statistic for the Blackpool goalkeeper. He needs to be on good form today in the playoff final. I will be doing my prediction for that, so stick around for that. But the prediction for the playoff final, even though it is, you've got to trust me, it's 2 o'clock right now. This will hopefully be going up either tonight or tomorrow, being Sunday today, hopefully Monday, if not even tonight as well. I will be doing my prediction for that. I've let it a bit late, but it's so sunny, it's so nice outside. I've got to do outside, so it might be a little bit late there. But ultimately, I will be doing my prediction for that playoff final. That will be kicking off in an hour as well, so very, very excited. I can't wait to watch that. Sort of on to my awards now, and that is my player of the season, and that's got to go to George Grant of Lincoln City. He's going to be playing in the playoff final tonight. He was fantastic this season. So impressed with George Grant of Lincoln City. Over double figures for both goals and assists. He was a great, great player. That number 10 playing in midfield for Lincoln. He's a one to watch out for in the playoff final today. So excited to see him in action. What a campaign it is for him. In terms of club of the season, we can't really look anywhere else and further than Hull City. A great campaign for them, of course, winning the league. You can't really move anywhere other than them for club of the season. Hull City get my award there. I don't think too many complaints can be there. Can be going towards that. Here, biggest overachiever in terms of the clubs, the club that did the best overachievement this year, and that's got to go, for me, it's between two, but I think Blackpool have got to edge it, but it could be easily Lincoln. Both of them playing in the final today, they were absolutely outstanding this season. No one really predicted Blackpool to do as well as they did. No one really predicted Lincoln to do as well as they did, but they did do very, very well in the summer. They got some great managers, Neil Critchley, of course, at Blackpool, and Michael Appleton at Lincoln. Fantastic stuff from them. They're playing, and about out, one of them will be playing Championship football next season, which is a fantastic achievement for them. They have to go as my biggest overachievers this year. I'm going to go with Blackpool though, because I think, they think about it, they got third, they had a great season really. I'm going to go with Blackpool there, but Lincoln are quite unlucky not to get that award. So yeah, for biggest underachiever, I've gone with Ipswich. It could have been Portsmouth, Charlton, all of those big clubs missing out. So that is a bit of a shame for them, but ultimately, I think they will look at that in quite a negative way, because they really should have gone up. I will do my prediction now then. Lincoln against Blackpool. Who's it going to be? I think Blackpool will do it. I think they will. They're fantastic against Oxford in the semi-final. I think Blackpool will do it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, this will be going out after, but give your thoughts on the final. Give your thoughts on this League One campaign. I've been Jack. It's been the Unfound Podcast. This has been my ultimate League One roundup, quick fire. Hopefully it's not been too long. I don't know what time we're on. I think we're on about 20 minutes, so hopefully it's been okay. I've been Jack. Like I said, this has been the Unfound Podcast. Looking forward to the Euros outside. Hopefully it stays good weather for the Euros. I'm really looking forward to that sort of content. This will be my final League One content of the year. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've loved the journey, and I'll see you in a bit. Take care.